Am I audible, Balram? Yes, thank you. Very good afternoon to everyone. Though the strength is less, we do not want to stop these sessions. So here in today's session, let us try to focus on relational algebra and relational calculus. From your examination point of view, you will have this relational calculus, like the queries will be given to you, and then you will have to say what is the equivalent relational algebraic statement for it. Yes, so in such a way, usually here the questions will be asked from relational algebra and calculus. So as I already told you to just revise what will be there in this relational algebra and calculus. So here I just wanted to brush them up. We know that first thing, relational algebra is procedural, because in this we are specifying how to execute our statement, and also we are saying what to execute. But whereas with relational calculus, it is completely non-procedural, where you are not specifying how you are executing it. You just specify what you retrieve, and how to retrieve the data is not specified. Okay, so how you are deciding that? So if I'm considering a relational algebraic statement, we know the symbols, right? Yes, so here if I say that I wanted to project employee name, comma, salary, and then I say for which employees do I wanted to project all this data? Only for those people whose salary is greater than 10,000, and this I wanted to apply on the EMP table. Right. So here if you observe, we are first specifying here, when you are writing, this internal one will be executed first. So from the employee table, it identifies the records whose salary is about 10,000, and upon those results, so this again results in one more table or relation. So upon this table, this projection operator will work, and these two attributes will be retrieved. So here what we wanted to retrieve, you are specifying that, and how you wanted to retrieve, first execute this and then execute this, even you are specifying that. So that's why we call here RA as relational algebra. Then coming to relational calculus. Right. So here in relational calculus, we pretty well know that this relational calculus is again classified into two. You have tuple relational calculus and domain relational calculus. So what do you mean by these two? With the tuple relational calculus, when you are retrieving the data, our focus is on the entire tuple. So here with tuple relational calculus, you will speak only with respect to row. So if you wanted to retrieve the data, complete record will be retrieved. If you wanted to retrieve a particular attribute, you will have to specify that explicitly, or otherwise it concentrates only on the tuple. So whereas the domain relational calculus, it focuses on the domain of the data. So here if I specify that it is domain, it is focusing on retrieval of the attributes. So when you are writing the statements, we are specifying attributes in this case, and here we are specifying tuples or rows in TRC. So again considering an example. So here if you take, if I wanted to write a TRC statement. So how are you writing a TRC statement? You will have a tuple that you wanted to retrieve, and also you should say this tuple belongs to which table, because you are anyhow representing tuple with T. So we are specifying there exists T, that belongs to some table called sailors or students or employees, whatever table that you wanted to specify. So here T is the one which you wanted to retrieve, and this T will be available only in this student table, such that what is our condition? Then you will have to specify here T in that tuple. What is our condition? Like T of marks greater than 50. So here if you observe this statement, are you specifying whether this is to be executed first or this is to be executed first? And in addition to this, if you have n number of conditions, like, and again I wanted to write like T of attendance, right, like above 60 percentage, above greater than or equal to 60 percentage. So in that case, what you are saying, there exists T that belongs to students, and there exists T of marks greater than 50 and T of attendance greater than or equal to 60. Among these three, which one to be executed first, whether this one or this one or this one? Are we specifying how to execute and which one to execute first in a TRC statement? We are not doing that, right? So here, that's what the RC says. It will specify only what to retrieve. You are saying that attendance should be greater than 60 and marks should be greater than 50. That's it. But you are not specifying whether you should check this first or you should check this first. You are not doing that. So from this TRC only, we are deriving a language called as SQL. I hope you are clear with this. Right? Similarly, you have the domain relational calculus. Is it? Yes. So here we have domain relational calculus. So in domain relational calculus, as I told you, on what attribute, on what do we focus in a DRC statement? We focus on the attributes. So here, in case if you wanted to retrieve all the attributes of the table, you cannot retrieve as in the previous case with the tuple T where it includes all attributes. It is not possible here with DRC. So if I wanted to retrieve all the attributes, I should specify them separately. The ID of the student, name of the student, marks of the student, and attendance of the student. You have to specify them separately, such that for all, that is all these things. So what are all those things that we require? The attributes: ID, name, marks, and age, age or attendance, whatever it is, that belongs to the student table. Then again your condition. And what is the condition that you wanted to specify? Marks greater than 10 and attendance greater than 65. So here in this case, what is happening? If you wanted to retrieve the entire tuple, you cannot do this with domain relational calculus. You will have to specify particular domain. So I, N, M, A, the notations that we give, it can be anything. Okay, just specifying them is not sufficient. To which table do they belong to? Because you wanted to retrieve all the attributes information for all you are considering. If there is a condition on this, you specify there exists. So here there is a condition, so you will have to specify there exist. Right. So again, M greater than 10 and A greater than 60. So among these two, M and A, which one should be executed first? Again, it is not providing that here. So whatever conditions that you have, C1 and C2 and C3 and so on, you are providing all the conditions in one by one. So how do you execute these from your table? That is not specified in DRC. Okay, so these are the basic information that we will have to know when you are working with relational algebra and relational calculus. And then a quick revision on the symbols that are available. So here with RA, you have sigma for selection, pi for projection. So here this will be used for only selecting the tuples. This is for selecting the attributes. Then you have this to be the cross join, which is Cartesian product. Then this one is the natural join. Natural join is by default all the common column conditions between the two tables will be will be compared with an equijoin. Okay, so then you have union, intersection, set difference, which is minus. Then the next set, if you observe, all these set of operators are called as binary operators. You require relation 1 and relation 2 to operate. Okay, so other than these two, you have one more operator called row, which is used for renaming. Okay, so these three are called as unary operators because they'll work only on one table at a time. Is it clear? Yes, so other than this, you have divide operator. What else do we have? As far as I remember, these are the operators that we have, right? And assignment operator is also there. Sorry, this is not the assignment operator. This is the assignment operator. This one, right? So these are all the operators that we have. So coming to relational calculus, only two things that we will have to remember. One is in a TRC statement, you will be specifying T provided the predicate on T. So here the predicate on T includes the condition that you are specifying that T belongs to which table and all other additional conditions as well. Similarly, for domain relational calculus, provide all the attributes A1, A2 and so on up to AN. My writing is too bad. Such that again predicate on these attributes A1, A2 and so on. Right. So as with tuple relational calculus, even here also you will have the predicate to be the condition saying that these attributes belongs to which table and what is the condition on these attributes. Both of them should be specified even in tuple relational calculus as well as in domain relational calculus. This is the only information that we need to keep in our minds to further proceed with relational algebra. Shall we proceed? Did you understand? Do you have any doubts? Shall we proceed, ma? Yes. Okay. Thank you, Balram. Sorry for the delay. So here, these are the operators that I have just spoken. So let us directly go up with the knowledge check. Please observe the question. I'll minimize this so that I'll even see the answers. The question is now visible to you, right? Now try to answer this. Consider the join of a relation R with a relation S. So you have join operation between R and S. If R has m tuples and S has n tuples, then the maximum and minimum sizes of join respectively are. It is a general question. Even in SQL also they may ask you. So the early questions that I have kept are only 1 mark questions. Then we will go for 2 marks questions from GATE. So expecting an answer from you guys. Think once, Balram. Again think. Now you will go with B. See, let me give an example. Let me give an example. Then you tell me the answer. I am not revealing the answer yet. Okay? You only think and tell me. Just I'll be going with an example here. Right? So I'm taking two relations R and S. Okay? So then I'm taking two attributes AB here and BC here. Okay? So now I have A1, B1, B2, okay? B2, C1. Yes, so these are the tables that I have. Okay, so let us consider that this is our primary key. It is being referenced here. Okay, so what is our question now? Let us again go for the question. You are performing a join between R and S. Okay, so they have not told you what kind of join it is. So consider that to be an equijoin if they have not told anything. So what you should do? Yes, in your resulting table, you should have this record mapped with all the records. So here only it is mapping. So we will get A1, B2, B2, C1, right? So then again considering this record, you will get A2, B2, B2, C1. Then considering this record, how many we are getting? A3, B1, B1, C2. Right? So when you are applying a join, so here never ever consider the equijoin. So when you are considering a join, it is only the cross join. So with a cross join, what will happen? Every record in the first table will be mapped with all the records in the second table. Okay, so when you are mapping this, what will happen? Here 3 are there and here 3 are there. So maximum of 9 will come. Okay, so if it is a cross join. So if every record is matching, you will get 9 records, 3 into 3. But there are chances that none of the records match here. So in which case will you get this? So if I consider A, B, again B, C. So here I have A1, A2, A3, null here, and here again I have B1, B2, B3. So now if you perform cross join between these two, now can you compare a null with these values? So in that case, it will be 0, right? There is no result in your join operation, right? Yes or no? So the answer will be mn or 0. So maximum you can have m into n, the maximum number of elements in first relation mapped to all the elements in the second relation. If in case one of the relation is having null values, so that is the example that I have taken here. If there is null values in the first table, so in that case you will not have any result in the resultant set. So that is the reason why you will have mn and 0. It is not m minus n. Is that okay, Balram? Shall we proceed? Done. So let us move on with the next question. Please see here. Again, this is also a 1 mark question and pretty simple. What you wanted to do? The relational algebraic expression equivalent to the following tuple calculus expression. So tuple calculus expression is provided to you. I told you that it would be t slash p of t. So t is your tuple and p of t is the predicate that you are providing. So here predicate is t belongs to the relation and the additional condition that we are providing. Okay, so you will have to specify the relevant and equivalent relational algebraic expression for this. Try to answer this now. You are only there, the other guys are not available. They have just opened and not answering. Okay then. So here it is C. How you have told that it is a C? Because you wanted to retrieve all the tuples information. So tuple will be retrieved by sigma. But then you have two conditions with AND. The replacement of AND with a set operator is intersection. So that is the reason why here we are going with option C. And it is correct. The next question. Please observe carefully. You are given two tables and these are the basic relational algebraic operations that we have. So using these algebraic operations, which of the following cannot be expressed? Any answer from your end? Again, it is C. Very good. Why so? If you wanted to express department name of every employee, directly you can use pi. In the subscript, you can write department's address. Then employee whose name is the same as their department name. So in that case, you will have to go with a selection operator with condition. Name is equal to department name. Then all employees of given department. So directly you can go with projection. Right. So sum of all employees' salaries. So here the aggregate operators, average, min, max, count, sum, these are not available with algebra. So that is the reason why here the answer is C. C cannot be, the sum cannot be expressed. Perfect, Balram, that's true. Okay, so let us go with the next question. So here they gave you a select statement for any arbitrary predicate P, whatever could be the condition on P, which of the following relational algebraic expressions is true? Observe the options carefully. Okay, which of the given expressions are equivalent to the above select statement? Any answer? You're still trying. Balram, again you have given C, but that's not true. That's why I asked you to properly see the algebraic expressions. Union and intersection cannot be applied between the relations. Please keep this in your mind. Union and intersection are the operators. Whenever you are speaking about operators, operators can be provided only between conditions, right? Yes or no? Yes, between a set of values only you can implement them. So if you have a condition retrieved with another condition, you use or and for replacement of them you can use union and intersection. But here if you observe, in the select statement, you are taking R1, R2 and so on Rm. So you have multiple tables. So if you wanted to use multiple tables, you should go for a join statement. So then again we should think whether to use cross join or this natural join. Right? If you are specifying option B, it means natural join. Natural join means that the common column conditions must be checked with equality. It is an equi-join. Right? But here if you observe your SQL statement in the predicate, in the condition, the common column condition is not yet specified. So it could be just a Cartesian product of the tables R1 till Rm without any condition, right? So that is the reason why here C, D and B are eliminated. So the answer is A. Is that clear? May I get a confirmation? Yes. So let's proceed. Next question. Please observe the question properly, because the problem with relational algebra is all the terminology, whatever operations that we perform seem to be same, but they are quite different. Please observe the question. You have relations R1 and R2. In R1, A is the key. In R2, D is the key. Right? Let C be the foreign key in R1 referring to R2. Right? So what must happen? C must refer to D. Suppose there is no violation of the above referential integrity constraint in the corresponding relation instances R1 and R2. So what do you mean by that? If there is no violation. So here, if an tuple in D exists, then only a tuple in C is getting inserted. So that coordination is already established between R1 and R2. That's what they are saying. Which one of the following relational algebraic expressions would necessarily produce an empty relation? So your output should be nothing. So what relational algebraic expression will provide you nothing? Please observe carefully and then tell me the answer. How come 2A is wrong? In which way are you thinking? So think that we have distinct names only, because there is no chance for relational algebra or calculus to distinct the names, to display the distinct names. Okay, so hopefully you might have got the answer, right? Still not yet completed. Akash, Asif, aren't you doing? So do you agree that first statement is correct, the select statement is correct? Okay, you are still trying. Okay, so let me wait for some more time. Try yourself. If you have completed, let me know. Okay, so let's try here. So what are they asking for? We require pi x. Okay, so from which tables? This P and R. So from this P and R, we do not require all the tuples, only those tuples that are matching with the given conditions, that are satisfying the given conditions. So what we will have to do? P dot y is equal to R dot y. So here y1 is matching, so first tuple. Y1 is again matching second tuple. Y2 is matching here and Y2 is matching here. So four tuples have come. But for the second condition, R dot V is equal to V2. So with V2, you have only one tuple, right? So here, how many tuples will be retrieved from your first one? Y2, V2. Am I right? And its corresponding X statement is X2. So pi X is displaying you X2. Is that correct? Yes. So then minus, here we are getting between Q and R, these two tables. So Q dot y is equal to R dot y. So y1 is matching here. Y2 is also matching. And Y2 here also matching. So three tuples. Y1 four tuples. And Y3 so five tuples are there. And Q dot T is greater than 2. So out of all these tuples, which will be coming? Y2 and Y1, and out of them you require again x1 and x1. So x2 minus a set of x1 x1, you will get only x2. So only one tuple will be displayed. Perfect, Balra. So only one tuple will be displayed, right? Is that okay? Yes. Done. Thank you. So then the next question. This question is pretty simple. Please try to understand the question and give me the answer. This one we have just seen now, A, B, C and D, E, where C is a foreign key on D. The same question with a little twist. Please read the question and try to answer. Will you agree with that? Yes. So because C is a primary key, B is a foreign key that is depending upon C, there are chances that B can have same values as C, B may not have values as C. So in that case, if you are accepting B from C, so what will happen? Some values in C may be displayed. So it cannot be equal to an empty set. Then projection of B is equal to projection of C. It will never be same because B is a foreign key value. So in B, you can have duplication of values. That is equal to projection of C, which is a primary key. So in C, you may be having department numbers like 10, 20, 30. But in in B, you may have 10, 10, 10, 10, 20, 10, 10, 20, 20 like this, right? So now what will happen? They are never equal. The projection of values in B could be 10, but in C it could be only 2. So this is not correct. Then projection of B from R1 minus projection of C from R2. Again the same case. Here with B, you are doing C from R2. Here you are doing B from R2. But the thing is, you are saying that it is not equal to pi. There are chances that you can have null values in B. And as C is a primary key attribute, there is no chance that it will have a null value. You cannot have a null value here. So null minus everything is null. So it could be equal to nothing. So the answer would be A. It won't be C. Understood, Asif? Got it? Do you have any doubt? If you don't understand, I will go up with an example. Should I explain again? No. Thank you. So with this, I am concluding today's session. Yes. So hope you understood all